Thank you for downloading this episode of Folk on Foot. Before we start, I just wanted to share a brief message. If you like what we do, we really need your support to keep going. You can join our wonderful band of members and you'll get great rewards. These include access to our amazing Folk on Foot on film archive of hundreds of songs shot on location on our travels around the UK and Ireland. To sign up, just go to folkonfoot.com/supportus. You'll also get an ad-free version of all our episodes and an email postcard from me each time we go on a walk. If you just want the ad-free version, it'll cost you £3 a month, and you can get it through your Apple Podcast app or at folkonfoot.com/supportus. Finally, if you don't want to make a regular commitment but do want to show how much you love us, you can simply buy us a coffee. You can also do that at folkonfoot.com/supportus. Every penny we get goes back into making more episodes of Folk on Foot. So thank you and enjoy the walk.
Open the door! Finger the pole! Finger the pole! Open the door! Open the door! Finger the pole! Finger the pole! Open the door! Finger the pole! Please to list the new year in, the old year out, the new year in. We wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. A pocket full of money, a cellar full of beer, and a good fat
I sometimes get confused at this time of year about what is a Christian tradition at Christmas and what is a pagan tradition. So I've come to Bishop's Castle in Shropshire, not far from the Welsh border, to meet John Kirkpatrick, a great squeezebox player, a great Morris dancer, and a great keeper and reviver of the English tradition. And hopefully he'll be able to answer some of my questions.
If this be a good house, you're sure to let us in. If this be a bad house, this is what we'll sing. Oh, the cock sat up in the yew tree, the hen came chuckling by. We wish the cock would drop a turd and drop it in your eye. Your eye, your eye, you wish you'd never be born.
I'm so looking forward to meeting John Kirkpatrick because he's played with absolutely everybody. He's been in a duo with Roy Bailey, with Martin McCarthy. He was in Steel Eye Span, the Albion Band. But all the way through, he's kept up his enthusiasm and passion for Morris dancing. In fact, he founded the Shropshire Bedlams, who are based here in Bishop's Castle. So it'll be great to meet John, and there's no one better to get us in the festive spirit this Christmas. There will be Christmas carols, there will be Morris dancing, and there will be Christmas pudding in this episode of Folk on Foot.
Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Holly, you grow so tall and strong, as tall as any tree. Holly, you grow so tall and strong, tall as any tree. And ivy's heart is deeper, oh, deeper than the sea. And ivy's heart is deeper, oh, deeper than the sea. Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery?
Good morning, John. How lovely
Morning.
to see you. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Morning, Matthew.
We're here in Bishop's Castle, standing in front of a coat of arms, big stone coat of arms with an elephant on one side and a griffin on the other side. Whose coat of arms is this?
The coat of arms was that of the son of Clive of India. Clive of India was everything you'd hate about the British Empire, you know.
Yeah.
He made a fortune in India, came back one of the richest men in the country, was totally corrupt and evil. This town, Bishop's Castle, had 2 MPs, very small population, and a very small number of people who could vote. And you just bribed your way into Parliament, which is what Clive of India did. and became an MP. And then his son married into the aristocracy and became the next Earl of Powys. So the reason the elephant is in this coat of arms, finally, is to honour Clive of India's contribution to all the joy we're all having.
But there are a lot of elephants around the town. I just noticed by the Castle Hotel up to the right there's a Castle Gatehouse, which is the elephant gatehouse. There's a painting of an elephant coming out of a window.
Yes.
What's that? Was there an elephant that lived there?
Briefly, there was, yes. In the 1930s, there were 2 or 3 local circuses who used to overwinter here or near here. In the 1930s, food was becoming difficult to get for a large creature like an elephant, and touring was becoming hard. So one year they left one of the elephants here, an Indian elephant, and then the war came on, and so everything sort of ground to a standstill. But the elephant stayed here for quite a long time, quite a few months, and the circus left the elephant's keeper and a little Shetland pony for its pal, Every day they used to go for a walk around the town, and I don't think anybody would remember that now, but certainly, parents of present residents remember seeing the elephant and the Shetland pony walking around the town. And they lived in that building just down from the Castle Hotel, which is now called the Elephant Gatehouse.
And this is Bishop's Castle. Is there a castle still?
No.
Where is it?
Well, all the remains of the castle have been used in all the local buildings, So the Castle Hotel is almost at the top of the town, and just behind it, there's actually a bowling green, a crown bowling green. That's where the castle stood. There's nothing left of it up there. There's breathtaking views, You'd be able to see the Welsh coming up marauding, from a good way off.
Because we're not far from Wales here, are we?
No, a couple of miles. Well, the borders wiggles in and out like a snake, but it's very close, 2 or 3 miles from here. Yeah.
Where are you going to take us on the walk?
We'll start by just going down to the front street of the town, and there's some stuff to look at the church, which I think is quite interesting.
OK, let's get on. So have you brought an instrument with you, John?
I've got my concertina on my back. The accordion's a bit heavy to lug up and down hills, but it's waiting for me at the church down the bottom.
Excellent.
When we get there, yes. So we're passing the town hall now, and there are all these lovely stained glasses showing the history of the town.
Beautiful, actually. It's been beautifully restored, hasn't it?
It's very handsome. And actually, while we're here, let's go around the other side, because there's some more windows to see here. See, this is the Civil War. This one, cavalier on a horse looking mean.
And they have a very beautiful half-timbered building on the right.
There's a lot of lovely buildings, yeah. So if we go across here, this used to be the town jail, these windows here.
Oh, really? With the bars, big bars and
yes.
Circular windows with big bars.
They're still occupied every night. And here's a picture of the Morris dancers, see? So that in that right-hand corner, there's a male and female Morris dancers. We're dancing at the 3 Tons Brewery.
Those are the 2 sides that you set up 50 years ago now.
49.
49, OK, John.
Yes.
50
go
for
mad,
cash. Oh, amazing. And I believe that you dance up this hill.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Which is a very steep hill, I must say. That must be quite a challenge, isn't it?
It is, yes. We have a weekend end of June every year, based around a special service in the church, Midsummer Rejoicing it's called, and the vicar at the time thought it'd been fun to strew rushes on the floor like they used to do in the old days when there was no stone floor. And so he invented this weekend, which is great fun. And we dance at the care home just on the next street over there, dance up that hill, along the top, down this hill to the church, do the service, dancing in church, in the churchyard, all very pagan. And then we all dance up the hill to the pub and dance at the pub. Every year we have a guest invited team, and every year we say, OK, we've just got to dance up the hill now. And like, OK, yeah. And they get up to here and they go, bloody hell. Oh, we do this every year.
They're exhausting.
They're all knackered, so we feel very smug about that.
So what brought you to this area, John?
Well, in the early 1970s, I was a professional folkie by then. I was singing with my wife at the time, Sue Harris. We met in London. I was born and brought up in London. Sue came to college in London. We met, we got married, started working and playing together. And somebody said, if you're going to travel around the country all the time, which we were doing, it's best to live in the middle. So we moved to Wolverhampton. We had some friends in the West Midlands. And we moved to Wolverhampton. If you've got a day off in Wolverhampton, you come west and you find Shropshire. And we got to know somebody in Clun, which is a few miles south of where we are now, and just fell in love with the whole area, as everybody does.
Because it's beautiful countryside around here, isn't it?
It's fantastic. It's off all the beaten tracks, you know. You have to be coming here to get here, you know. You don't go through it to get anywhere. The landscape is fabulous, so walkers, cyclists always come here.
I'm noticing that there's quite a bit of mud on your boots. So are you a big walker yourself?
I don't clean my boots very often.
And when you came here, did you find a folk scene or any folk traditions?
Not really, no. We moved to Shropshire in 1973. There was a folk club in Ludlow, which is about 20 miles away, which Sue and I used to go along to. There was a local Morris team, the South Shropshire Morris Men, and I'd been dancing since I was 12, so I went along to them a few times, decided it was a bit staid for what I was used to. And some of the local sixth formers saw a Morris team called Gloucestershire Old Spot Morris Dancers. They danced in the Cotswold style, and they were the best team of that style that anyone had ever seen. They were just fantastic, you know, athletic and sexy and very masculine, leapt miles off the ground, you know, everything that's good about Morris dancing. And some lads from the school, the secondary school just here, asked their teacher, who was a folkie, where could they have a go at this sort of thing. So he said to me, did I know anybody who could teach Morris dancing? So I went, yeah, I can do that. So we started tentatively, and it developed into the team that's now called the Shropshire Bedlams. We had enough for a team of women. It was a new age for women starting to dance in teams in public, early 1970s. So we were one of the first teams to have a regular team of women, and we were the first sort of companion teams, you know, men and women dancing together, and musicians from one lot would play for the other lot, you know, when we're out, which we still do now.
So it's still going strong?
Yeah, still going very strong, yeah. We're practicing tonight. Good numbers. We're all getting a little bit older.
Is there a Christmas tradition associated with the Morris?
Yes, there is around this part of the world, yes. Morris dancing was done in the middle of winter in Shropshire. In other parts of the country, Oxfordshire, Gloucestershire, the Cotswold Morris, style of Morris as it's called, it's done in the springtime, you know, white clothes, ribbons, hankies. In East Anglia, they have a special dance on Plough Monday called molly dancing, where the men dress up as in women's clothes, a form of disguise. The common theme in all these customs and traditions is that you don't look like you do normally. So you have some kind of disguise. So you'd wear a costume with ribbons and flowers and a hat, so you don't see the features of the face particularly. Or you turn your jacket inside out and cover it in tatters, which is what was often done around here, just strips of material. And blacken your face, which is, you know, become embarrassing and awkward now, but in this country, the easiest way to disguise yourself is to put your hand up the chimney and cover your face with soot. Nobody knows who you are. So you can go and do your custom Morris dancing or mumming or carolling or whatever it is, and go around with your collecting box, and nobody would know it was you, you know. So you could collect from your boss or your landlord or the local squire of the manor and get away with it, you know, because you say, you're the bloke who sort of dug up my potatoes last year, you swine, you know.
So it was all about disguising your identity,
yes,
and going around to collect money. And is that what's behind the kind of wassailing tradition?
Yes, yes.
I hear that word so much.
Yes.
And sometimes it's associated with apples,
yes,
and sometimes it's about going door to door. What's your explanation for it?
Well, the word wassail comes from the Anglo-Saxon, meaning good health, essentially. So it's a way of bringing good health and good luck to whoever you're bringing it to. The fact that it's Anglo-Saxon means it's been going on a hell of a long time, 1,000 years. The commonest thing is to go from door to door along the street. You'd sing your version of the wassail song. You'd have a wassail bowl or wassail cup, and you'd hope for a drink, and it would be refilled as you go along. And you sing your song, bring the house good luck. They give you a drink, possibly some coppers. I'm going to sing a wassail song that I got from the Shropshire Folklore book in the 1880s, edited by Charlotte Byrne. This is called the Wassail Cup Hymn. In Herefordshire and Gloucestershire, they tended to wassail the farm and the farm animals, usually around Twelfth Night rather than Christmas. And you'd light a circle of bonfires, 12 fires, to kind of symbolically cleanse the earth. Then you go in the farmyard, all the animals are in for the winter, you toast each animal by name, have a swig, and then wish the farmer good luck because you will work for the farmer. They used to make a cake called 12th cake. It's a big fruit cake with a hole in the middle. You put it on the horns of the largest ox, and you toast the ox, saying, "Raise your cups, my merry men all. Here's to the oxen in the stall. He's the best ox. Make no mistake, so let's crown him with our 12th cake." And you put this cake on the horns of the ox. And as everybody knows, if he tosses it back, it's going to be a good year. If he tosses it off forward, it's going to be a bad year. But everyone knows that, except the ox.
But what about the apples that some people associate with wassailing?
Yes, I think that started in Somerset. Still happens in Somerset, where you'd wassail the apple trees in the orchard. And very specific rules. You pour cider in the roots of the apple tree, you put toast in the branches for the birds, and then you shoot guns through the branches of the tree to ward off the witches. And I bet you haven't seen a witch in an apple tree for a long time.
It's working. So we're coming into the churchyard now, John.
Yes, St John the Baptist Church. Church isn't that old, Victorian, but the tower is Norman. And the clock there's only got one hand. So nobody quite knows what the time is.
So very interesting that the church is part of the tradition, but not the whole tradition, because obviously you've revived the carol singing tradition in the pub,
Yes.
haven't you?
Yes, that's
Tell
right.
us about that.
Castle Carols is the name of our carol singing session. It's based on what they do in Yorkshire, around Sheffield, and in Derbyshire as well.
As heard on our podcast.
Ta-da! Of course. And I was well aware of this and been to one of the two of the sessions ages ago, and I always wanted to start one myself that I could be part of, just for the fun of singing, you know, just to join with people singing our hearts out. And a few years ago, I finally got around to it. So it's loosely based on the Sheffield Carols, Village Carols as it's called, Ian Russell's fantastic project. And then I gradually fed in a few Shropshire tunes collected by Cecil Sharp, and there's a Shropshire folklore book from the 1880s which has got one or two carols in, and some of my own devising, and I've rearranged a few things just so it's more us doing what we do here, you know, with our own voice, as it were. We start practicing in November, 30 or 40 people, and then we start singing Sunday afternoons. Boxing Day is our big day. We do Morris dancing in the pub yard first, have a short break while we pant a bit, and then sing. We've broken all the fire regulations.
So you're in the upstairs room with the 3 tons.
The 3 tons, yes, yeah.
Which is a brewery as well, isn't it?
Brewery's that side, there's the yard, the pub's that side, yes.
In the upstairs room, you have how many people on Boxing Day?
One time we reckon we must have had 200 people in there.
All singing?
Singing their hearts out, yes.
One shepherd's watch, one shepherd's watch, one shepherd's watch, their flocks by night, all seated on the ground. The angel of the Lord came down, and glory shone around.
In Sheffield, as I understand it, the cows are actually thrown out of the church
That's
and ended
right.
up in the pub.
Yeah.
But here they've always been in the pub because you only started doing it a few years ago.
Yes, yeah, from time immemorial, the 5 years. Yes, in the middle of the 19th century, the Church of England decided all the local country parishes were a bit too out of control. They sang their local repertoire, locally composed hymns and anthems with the band up in the West Gallery. And Thomas Hardy famously wrote about they were so drunk on the Saturday night playing for the village dance, they fell asleep in the sermon, woke up, thought they were still playing for the dance, and went off into a dance tune instead of, God help us or whatever they should have been playing. So the Church of England suddenly and rather brutally imposed hymns ancient and modern. We'll get a nice well-trained organist in, the band can go away somewhere else, and all the choir and the singers just felt so wounded that their repertoire was being taken away from them. They either started singing round the houses as the traditional sort of wandering carol singing image we have, or they just went straight in the pub, And it's such a great thing, singing these kinds of songs with a drink inside you, just with people, your neighbours and your friends. It's such a glorious feeling. It's nothing to beat it.
And one of the things that interests me about the repertoire is that there are loads and loads of different versions of While Shepherds Washed Their Socks by Night. Or those lyrics, aren't
Yes,
there?
yeah.
With lots of different tunes. Why is that lyric so repeated?
Very simple reason. Hymn singing was a new thing in the Church of England about 1700. Some of the nonconformist churches were starting to sing hymns. It was a Protestant idea. and hadn't quite established itself in the Church of England. And then in 1700 there was a new supplement to the Psalms included in the Book of Common Prayer, and it was the words of 12 hymns that were allowed to be sung in church. So this was a new thing then. And they were written by Nahum Tate, who was the poet laureate, and one of his pals. And some of them were just paraphrases of passages from the Bible. And there was one of the 12 was appropriate for Christmas, which is "While shepherds watch their flocks by night," which is very loose paraphrase of verses from one of the Gospels. And for 80 years, that was the only hymn that was allowed to be sung in the Church of England at Christmas time. The second one, by John Wesley, was "O Come All Ye Faithful." So by that time, 3 generations of people had got used to singing "While Shepherds Watch," and there were no tunes with this supplement, so they just sang whatever tunes they fancied, made tunes up, used tunes from other songs or other hymns or other carols. And it's so simple and such a charming little story, so neatly told.
All glory be, all glory be, all glory be to God on high, and to the earth be peace. Goodwill henceforth from heaven to earth, begin and never cease. Begin and never cease, never cease, and never cease. Goodwill henceforth.
I'm so interested in why you're fascinated by Christmas traditions. I mean, you've recorded a couple of albums of Christmas music, and you obviously relish all these different traditions, John. Why is it that they appeal to you so much?
I think in the middle of winter, we all feel the need to do something. We need to do something different. Nature's closing down, essentially, in this country. And I think we feel sort of very basic urge to do something exciting and big and magical to sort of compensate for that and to try and get nature going again and bring back the sun. So a lot of these midwinter rituals, like Mama's Play, singing carols, singing songs, Morris dancing around here, they're all addressing that basic need to do something in the middle of winter. And it produces such a fabulous body of work. There's so many songs, carols, customs in the middle of winter. You never get to the end of it. It's a fantastic treasure trove to explore. And once you start digging, it's very hard not just to want to keep finding more and keep spreading the joy, and they're all just joyful, lively things. Some of them are more reflective, but on the whole, when you want to cheer yourself up, you sing something bright and lively, even if it's freezing cold and you haven't got enough wood to light the fire. But just singing the song will raise your spirits. So I think it's all that. I just love tapping into all that energy and passing it on. So this is called The Jovial Tinker. This is a song from a traditional Shropshire Mummers Play, where one of the characters steps out in the guise of the tinker and he's trying to whip up custom for his pots and pans as Christmas draws near.
in budget, tied fast upon me back. With me staff in me hand I trudge it, crying neighbours, what do you lack? I'll buy an old kettle, I'll lend an old kettle, I'll rent an old kettle, all round. And we ring-a-ting-ting and a something more drink. I'll make your old kettles cry sound, sound, sound. Oh, I'll make your old kettles cry sound.
So you're going to change from the accordion now to the concertina,
Yes.
John. What are you going to sing for us?
Well, this is a Victorian tearjerker. It's called The Miner's Dream of Home. So it's a reasonably well-known song out in the world, you know, as, not just a traditional song. A lot of traditional singers have picked up on the song and sing it. I mean, I do it as part of my Christmas show every year. I grew up with the song in the piano stall in the front room. Every Christmas, my relatives would belt the chorus of this out. And it's a song, you might not recognise the verses when they start, but you'll probably recognise the end of the chorus, which is, the bells are ringing the old year out and the new year in. You know, it's an end-of-year song, and it's somebody far from home just wishing they were back with their loved ones at Christmas time, relishing all the good company and the fireside cheer and stuff.
And it takes you back to your childhood.
Yes, every time I do this, I can see my grandmother, tears streaming down her face, stinking of gin, you know, belting out this chorus. I think, oh, grown-ups are so peculiar. I hope I'm never like that.
It's 10 weary years since I left England shore in a far distant country to roam. How I long to return to my own native land, to me friends and the old folks at home. Last night as I slumbered I had a strange dream. It seemed to bring distant friends near. I dreamt of old England, the land of my birth, to the hearts of her sons ever dear. I saw the old homestead, the faces I love. I saw England's valleys and dells. I listened with joy, as I did when a boy, to the sound of the old village bells. The Lord was burning brightly, 'twas a night that should banish all sin. For the bells were ringing the old year out and the new year in. As the joyous bells rang swift, I wended my way to the cot where I'd lived as a boy. And I looked through the window, and there by the fire sat my parents, my heart filled with joy. The tears trickled fast down my bronze-furrowed cheek as I gazed on my mother so dear. For I knew in her heart she was raising a prayer for the boy whom she dreamt not was near. I saw the old homestead, the faces I love. I saw England's valleys and downs. I listened with joy, as I did when a boy, to the sound of the old village bells. The Lord was burning brightly, 'twas a night that should banish all sin. For the bells were ringing the old year out and the new year in. At the door of the cottage we met face to face. 'Twas the first time for 10 weary years. Soon the past was forgotten, we stood hand in hand, father, mother, and wanderer in tears. Once more in the fireplace the old log burns bright, and I promised no more would I roam. And I sat in the old vacant chair by the hearth, and I sang that old song, Home Sweet Home. I saw the old homestead, the faces I love. I saw England's valleys and dells. I listened with joy as I did when a boy, to the sound of the old village bells. The log was burning brightly, 'twas a night that should banish all sin, for the bells were ringing the old year out and the new year in. The bells were ringing the old year out and the new year in.
John, that's amazing. And there's such a physical feat at the end there. When you go into the sound of the bells, you wave the concertina around in a big circle, and you're still playing and creating that sound of the church bells.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. How did you come up with that idea?
It's an old Victorian stunt, you know. There were lots of concertina players, professional concertina players on the stage in Victorian times, and that was the standard party piece for the concertina. You swung it around your head and sounded like church bells, so you can't do it for too long.
You sound a bit breathless now.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So just as we're walking out of town, I was quite interested, John, to hear a little bit about your own musical journey, because you mentioned earlier that you started when you were 12, getting involved in music.
Morris dancing. I began Morris dancing when I was 12, yes, yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, my family used to go to a church in Hammersmith in West London, and somebody said, why don't we have an activity that all the people, different age groups in the church, can enjoy together outside church? So started a country dance club. Got in touch with Cecil Sharp House to send somebody along to call the dances, and a man called Hugh Rippon came along, and he got us country dancing, which I was 12. I hated it, you know, holding girls' hands.
Embarrassing.
Yes, oh God, nothing worse. And he said, well, there's all these young lads here, let's start a Morris team. So this is 1959. In the first week, somebody broke a finger in a stick dance. I thought, this sounds like the sort of thing I want to do.
More rough and ready.
Yes, yes. So at week 2, there I was, and just got totally lost, you know. Loved the dancing, absolutely loved the dancing, loved the music.
And how did the concertina or the squeezebox of some kind come into your life?
Through Morris dancing. When I started dancing with Hammersmith, Hugh Rippon, who was teaching us, he'd just taken up the melodeon himself, push-pull squeezebox. He was playing that. And he was very encouraging, Hugh. He lent me his melodeon and said, have a go on this, you know, see how I get on. And I took to it like a duck to water. So I got a melodeon when I was 13. I've had various squeeze boxes ever since, but all the things I play started off in my hands as playing for Morris dancing.
Right. So you came to it through dance,
yes,
not through music, as it were, and the music was a secondary activity.
Yes, yeah. After a Morris dance session, you'd sit there and have a pint, you know, once I was old enough. People would sing drinking songs, you know, there were lots of cheerful, chorusy, boozy drinking songs. I thought, this is fantastic. And then I became aware of the recordings of traditional singers who were coming out at that time, Topic Records and so on. That was just at the beginning of that, and I fell in love with these recordings of these strange, mysterious performances of these magical songs with strange scales, and I thought, this is incredible. And I'd heard recordings of that before I stepped inside a folk club, I was familiar with the songs. And the first club I went to, we were actually guests with the Morris team. It was at Catford Folk Club in South London. And they invited Hammersmith Morris men as guests. And, we were there, did a few dances, and some of us sang a bit. And I thought, God, this is awful. They're just sitting there,
So they didn't get up and dance?
No, I was just all young and bursting with energy and wanted to do stuff all the time, And obviously I gradually became more and more in that world, and, because I could sing, I could accompany myself singing, and the instruments I played were fairly unusual in a folk club where most people were playing a guitar if they played anything. So I was kind of a bit of a novelty,
And as your career developed, you got involved in the folk rock scene with Steel Eye Span, the Albion Band, and players like that. Did you enjoy the sense of amplification and power that it gave you being on stage in front of a large audience?
It was fantastic. It was fantastic. I love the intimacy of the folk club setting, but just to make a huge noise with lots of people and have thousands of people clapping at the end of a song, and think, oh God, I could do with more of this. It's great fun.
And did a lot of work with Richard Thompson.
Yes, bless him. I met Richard when we were recording Morris On, which is actually Hutchings' idea. Folk rocked up Morris dancing.
Yeah, I've got a copy.
You have, Ray. Yes, a rare beast now. It's been deleted for quite a long time.
Yeah, I've got the vinyl.
Oh, excellent. Bright green.
Yes.
And I met Richard for that, and we got on really well, and I played with him on his records and live for on and off for sort of 15 years or so, which was a fantastic experience,
We're climbing a hill now.
Yes,
which is going to lead to a viewpoint, I hope.
That's right, yes. A couple of fields further on, if we manage to survive this mud. We're coming quite quickly up out of Bishop's Castle. We left it behind now. And we're in amongst the fields. There's a beautiful sunken lane just ahead of us here. And when we get through the other side of that, we've come to a quite spectacular viewpoint. There's Bishop's Castle in this little bowl, fairly contained in the bottom of the valley.
And there's a hill on the other side.
Yeah.
We're going to go over a stile now, aren't we, and into an open field. Yeah. And you might hear that we're a bit breathless. That's because we've been coming up quite a hill in that sunken lane.
Steep climb, yeah. And it's so up and down here. There's every kind of rock you get in the British Isles, you get within a few miles of here. This part of South Shropshire. So there's every kind of gentle hills, big steep hills, or almost mountainous hills. Outcrops of different sorts of rock. It's a geologist's dream.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about the contrast between the pagan and Christian traditions in the Christmas celebration, because you sang the wassail song and the mumming song in the church and the carols in the pub.
Yes, yeah.
Is there a tension between the two things, do you think, or do they sit side by side?
Not for me. I think because I was brought up in the church and used to singing anthems and hymns in praise of the Lord and so on, it's just part of my life, that sort of subject matter, as it were. And then I discovered folk music, which is a different view of the world. I think the point is that, especially in the middle of winter, I think you have to address a very basic urge. So whether that urge is couched in religious terms, you want to celebrate the birth of this new baby with healing in his wings, he's going to save us all and all that stuff, which is a lovely story, beautiful story. Irresistible, really, against all the pagan things like wassailing in the field and singing to the animals and all these kind of dirt under your fingernails kind of things. But I mean, to me, it's all the same thing. We have to address these things in the middle of winter because we feel so helpless. So anything that helps us buck ourselves up and carry on, whether that comes from an all-powerful God or singing to a cow, I don't see any difference, really.
Yeah, we turn round at the top of the hill,
and
everything opens up in front of us 180 degrees all the way around the hills.
So the Bishop's Castle, almost imperceptible, isn't it, from here? We haven't come that far. So this big hill over here to our left is the Long Mynd, which runs sort of more or less north-south. Church Stretton is just the other side of there. That's incredible. That's a real sort of moorland. and there's all these lumpy hills in between. That you can just see a hill through the gap there.
Yes.
That's Clee Hill. This hill here, this nearer one with the green fir trees on, that's called Buried Ditches. And there's a big Iron Age fort there. There's lots of kind of smaller Iron Age signs of life, that aren't necessarily like a big camp, but they're sort of recognised as historic sites. So the whole area is just steeped in this ancient, people have been here looking at this view for, a time immemorial, just untold decades, centuries.
And I wonder if that appeals to you in the sense that somebody who believes in tradition and reaching back into history, if it appeals to you to live in an area which has that sense of heritage.
Absolutely. It's so intangible, but it seeps into you somehow. And it sounds very sort of waffly and arty-farty to say things like that, but there is quite a powerful atmosphere in a landscape like this. And I think part of the reason I love being here and do what I do the way I do it is because of absorbing something from the landscape. I think it gives you something to kind of unlock some of these mysterious inner workings.
Would you like to give something back to the landscape by singing a song
Yes.
for us here?
Okay, let's do that.
Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Holly grows so tall as any tree. Holly grows so tall as any tree. And ivy's heart is deeper, oh deeper than the sea. And ivy's heart is deeper, oh deeper than the sea. Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Holly, he shines out like the rising of the sun. Holly, he shines out like the rising of the sun. And ivy loves the moonlight when the day is done. And ivy loves the moonlight when the day is done. Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Holly sings his song in a voice so clear and bright. Holly sings his song in a voice so clear and bright. And ivy sings in harmony to fill the song with light. And ivy sings in harmony to fill the songs with light. Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Holly and his merry men, they can dance in hall. Holly and his merry men, they can dance in hall. And ivy and her women can outdance the merry men all. And ivy and her women can outdance the merry men all. Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Holly bears a bark that's as bitter as any sloes. Holly bears a bark that's as bitter as any sloes. And ivy's skin is smooth and soft and scented like a rose. And ivy's skin is smooth and soft and scented like a rose. Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Holly bears a prickle as sharp as any thorn. Holly bears a prickle as sharp as any thorn. And ivy has a smooth leaf to smooth that prickle down. And ivy has a smooth leaf to smooth that prickle down. Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Holly, he knelt down and begged, oh, do no harm to me. Holly, he knelt down and begged, oh, do no harm to me. And Ivy she knelt down and begged, oh you do none to me. And Ivy she knelt down and begged, you do none to me. Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery? Oh, the holly and the ivy, they could not agree. The ivy and the holly, who should have the mastery?
It's all about men and women. There's
It
nothing
is,
religious in that one. That's not the version I know
Yes,
about the
yeah.
singing of the choir and all that stuff. Did the church come along and sanitise it, do you think?
Well, it's interesting because the earliest versions of the holly and the ivy from 500 years ago, and there's quite a few, they all, holly represents male, ivy represents female, and none of them from that time have the lines that we sing about Mary having Jesus. So you'd expect the further you go back, the more that would be part of the story. But when you think about it, holly and the ivy is such a pagan image, full of berries. No wonder we bring it indoors to decorate our homes and so on in winter. But, the rising of the sun, very pagan thing to sing about. And then Mary having baby Jesus doesn't kind of quite fit in the, it's a bit of a funny...
It's been attached on
Yes,
afterwards, hasn't
yes.
it? Like a kind of Elizabethan house built over the road.
Yes, yes, it's a funny combination of pagan imagery with the Christmas story. But that's the church all over, That's exactly what they did consistently, This is a good idea. Let's twist this round a bit and then, boof, feed it back in. Yeah, interesting.
Now, food and drink is what it's all about at Christmas for me, and I think you have a good recipe for us, John.
I have indeed, yes. My Irish-born grandmother had a fantastic family recipe for Christmas puddings, which she brought over to England. And another image from my childhood is my grandmother, who lived with us for a while, standing over my mother, ready to bash her with the wooden spoon if she got any detail of this recipe wrong. So this is the recipe and the way in which it was carried out. So this is the Christmas pudding song, and the chorus of this song is a parody of the prayer, which is the collect of the day for the 25th Sunday after Trinity, which is the last Sunday in November. And it's the one which says, "Stir up, O Lord, we beseech thee, the wills of thy faithful people, that they may fruitfully bring forth the..." I've forgotten the wording of it now. Haven't been to church for a while.
But this is Stir Up Sunday.
Stir Up Sunday.
Because I
yes.
know about this from the Archers.
That's
they
right.
do it in the
That's
Archers.
what they do, yes, yes, yes.
Stir Up Sunday.
That's right.
Stir up, O Lord.
That's right. So the chorus is a parody of that prayer, which is, "Stir up, O Lord, we beseech thee, the fruits of the earth in our pot. This great Christmas pud, it'll do us all good. Come Christmas, we'll scoff up the lot."
Stir up, O Lord, we beseech thee, the fruits of the earth in our pot. For the great Christmas pud, it'll do us all good, and come Christmas, we'll scoff up the lot. Take flour, take breadcrumbs, 8 ounces each one, and a pound of brown sugar add in, and an ounce of mixed spice, and another ounce more, and a small pinch of salt, and one more to make sure. 12 ounces of suet for fattening. It won't half make your old kitchen pong, so have a few sips of the brandy, for that's how the pudding goes on. Oh, stir up, O Lord, we beseech thee, the fruits of the earth in our pot. For the great Christmas pud, it'll do us all good, and come Christmas, we'll scoff up the lot. Sultanas and currants and raisins come next. It's £1 of each you chuck in, and then you must tip them back out once again, for picking the stalks off now has to begin. So you pick and you fiddle and twiddle, no job ever lasted so long. So have a few sips of the brandy, or how can the pudding go on? Oh, stir up, O Lord, we beseech thee, the fruits of the earth in our pot. For that great Christmas pud, it'll do us all good, and come Christmas, we'll scoff up the lot. 4 ounces of almonds now blanch and chop small, and half a pound more of soaked prunes, and some good candied peel. Add whatever you feel, a pound and a half, that should give it some zeal. Add the zest of an orange and lemon, and you squeeze out the juice good and strong, and have a few sips of the brandy. Well, that's how the pudding goes on. Oh, stir up, O Lord, we beseech thee, the fruits of the earth in our pot. For that great Christmas pudding will do us so good, and come Christmas we'll stuff up the lot. One carrot, one apple, you grate them both in, and then into a bowl on the side you pour one barley wine and a bottle of stout and a small glass of brandy if it hasn't run out. Add 1 dozen eggs when you've whisked 'em, pour in and the job's nearly done, and send someone out for more brandy, or how can the pudding go on? Oh, stir up, O Lord, we beseech thee, the fruits of the earth in our pot. For that great Christmas pudding will do us so good, and come Christmas we'll stuff up the lot. Add the old silver sixpence for the luck it will bring, and you all make a wish as you stir, and into grease basins next day pour it in, all trussed up with foil, greaseproof paper and string, and it sits for 8 hours on the steamer, and on Christmas Day steam for 2 more, and you pour on the last of the brandy, and light it and watch the flames roar. Oh, stir up, O Lord, we beseech thee, the fruits of the earth in our pot. For that great Christmas pod, it'll do us so good, and come Christmas we'll stuff up the lot. For that great Christmas pod, it'll do us so good, come Christmas we'll stuff up the lot.
I'm very hungry. I just want to say it's been amazing to spend this time with you, to hear your stories and your songs. I feel so enlightened about the history of Christmas and the history of the pagan tradition too. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend the time with you. Thank you.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, Matthew. Bless you. Thanks.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Folk on Foot as much as we enjoyed making it. There are over 60 episodes of Folk on Foot for you to explore, featuring amazing artists like Eliza Carthy, Johnny Flynn, The Unthanks, Corrine Polwood, Chris Drever, Sandra Kerr, Catherine Tickell, and many, many more. So please do explore our back catalogue. And if you like what we do, we really need your support to keep going. You can become a member and get great rewards, or you can simply buy us a coffee. To do either, and to sign up for our ad-free version, just go to folkonfoot.com/support us. Every penny we get goes back into making more episodes, so please do support us if you can.